All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Castlevania, Season 2, Episode 5. It is a sad, sad day.
Godbrand is dead brand.
Godbrand is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Got just shanked, taken out.
Like, as far as a way to kill a vampire, one of the most badass, like, underhanded and, like, just brutal ways, having a spiked, like, leather belt, essentially, that you've been using to self-flagellate. Then you go and take that and choke them out from behind while they're flailing. That was fucking metal.
Apparently, Godbrand should have known to be afraid of Daddy's belt. But, okay. Yeah, all right. He's gone.
He's gone. And the subterfuge within the castle
Continues.
of Dracula has escalated. Because now, with a potential insurrection on the rise, and one of his generals dead, Dracula might have to accept that this is not going not just well, but
in fact, quite badly for him.
This is something where in like a very short amount of time, the enemy could be not just at your gates, but within your gates, and staring you down with a unseat thine self from thine throne.
Indeed.
Or we will ravage thy buttocks, like yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, in the midst of that, our protagonists will be there somewhere, Maybe not there, but, yeah.
Can you just imagine
doing their thing?
Dracula just in a rage, drinking, like, Isaac, and then being like, all right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just kills, like, all the generals.
I am low-key really hoping that we get some kind of Dracula rampage this episode. That would be awesome. Like
Dracula versus, like, 7 vampire generals. Or
7? Right, vampire generals. And then the maybe 700 vampire soldiers that they have with them or something,
I just want to see Dracula casting spells.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Like, not even really using, like, his physical stuff, but just being like, and...
Right, doing the kind of vampire god shit where it's like physical things. I got past that like a couple thousand years ago or something, Yeah.
Well, all right, that's what's happening there. But let's maybe also take some time to catch up with our protagonists.
Yeah.
So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. The new sun shines this day, but you are not here to see it, my friend.
I don't know if I would call Godbrand
He's
his friend.
Literally mourning for him, casting his ashes into the wind.
Yep. Also, I love the idea of spreading the ashes specifically with the sunrise. Like the ultimate, like, triple tap. Like, he already burned to ashes, but now I need to make sure the ashes are in the sunlight, just in case.
For coming from an oral memory-based culture, you're very good with books.
It would have been a poor education if we hadn't been taught to
Alucard
read
trying to
things to add
flirt?
to our memory stores.
But how much of it is useful?
Well, I do have questions about Trevor's ancestors. I discovered an entire box of spells about penises.
I am also concerned that you enjoy him too much.
Oh, really?
And what is that supposed to mean?
Yeah.
He is unreliable, emotionally damaged. And apparently very distracting to you while you should be focused on the task at hand.
I think you're just describing yourself right now.
You forget, Alucard. Trevor didn't get to finish out his childhood. He is not the man here who may not have grown up.
Oh!
Well,
He immediately looks away and, like, goes and grabs a book.
Wait,
Good book.
get me that volume back there, with the red spine.
what have you found?
I'm not sure. The ritual language it's written in has forked a couple of times over the years. Give.
I haven't heard of it.
Give.
Take a look.
Interesting. I see threads of Chaldaic in it.
You're rather well read yourself.
I had entirely different books under my childhood bed. My father was a polymath, my mother was a doctor. And I grew up very fast.
He's trying to impress her.
I'm being literal. I aged very quickly.
That may explain something.
What?
Perhaps you're just an angry teenager in an adult's body.
His face!
Yeah.
His fucking face!
Holy shit, that was gold!
Such fun.
And of course he is. He's the vampire, right? Like, any other attitude just wouldn't be fitting.
You like the cold?
When I'm cold, I can eat meat or throw a cloak on. I spent my whole life in hot places. You can't escape heat.
That's true.
I just
fair.
didn't want to be interrupted by argument.
They are good at arguing.
I used to liken them to wolves or bats. A strong sense of community, acting as one. I see the vampires as cats, swiping, hunting, or ignoring each other.
You think of vampires as animals?
In a way. They are pure creatures. They have grace. Animals don't act with malice. The cats need herding, Isaac.
That's a good way to get your eyes clawed out, Hector.
I mean it. Dracula gave us the task of creating a war plan. But between his generals and their fighting, and his own attitude, he doesn't care.
He cares very much. He wants all of the humans to die. He's quite clear on that.
That hasn't escaped me. My point is that he doesn't care how.
What do you want, Hector?
I want to present a united front. I want a plan.
This is good to
I want to move
talk
forward
about this.
and get this over with in an orderly manner. I know that, strictly speaking, we've never really been friends.
It seems counterproductive to cultivate human friends when we're engaged in the project of ending the human race.
But we are on the same side.
Is this where we kiss like Benedictine monks from different monasteries?
I don't think I've ever heard you try to tell a joke before.
You still haven't.
That wasn't a joke, yeah.
Yeah.
How is it disloyal to provide the guidance he requested of us?
If it's serving you and not him, there are people in the court who have their own plans, their own agendas.
We go to Brayla, prevent a diaspora by boat, and then proceed along the coast from there. What do you say?
Well, it will please Camilla, so I distrust it. But it would stop her from making mischief for the moment. And it would get the war room pointed in the same direction.
This is a lot of the same stuff that Godbrand was asking for.
Hector, you are a marvel.
What now?
Now we'll wait a short while
yeah.
for Isaac to settle, and then we'll have him accompany us to Dracula. Dracula will have no choice but to agree to the request of both of his forge masters. Brilliant, Hector.
Quite remarkable. Carpathian.
Indeed. The last of the mirrors made by the Carpathian scrying hermits 400 years ago.
Listening to Hector made me wish for a lifeless world all on his own.
Wow.
I find myself wishing you two were better friends.
He'll be coming here to request you approve a move on Brayla.
Why?
Hector doesn't like it when the animals fight. Camilla has the court whipped up.
Is he still loyal?
Oh, I think so. There's betrayal abroad in the court, but Hector is a simpler creature than that. He just doesn't like the arguing.
So,
I'd get rid of
when I go
Godbrand.
to Brayla, they'll stop scheming and whining.
I think so. It will give Camilla some power, but that's not a bad thing.
No. The war room will speak to you and Hector in one voice instead of a dozen.
And at the end of the day, you don't care. Whoa. So long as the war continues.
All right.
There was a time that I would relish the details. There was a time. A time when the smallest details of death delighted me. I remember when the merchants of Kronstadt disrespected me.
Yeah, let's see it.
Spending a delicious few days gathering information about the town, but go to retrieve their most valuable goods before making their escape.
It's quick. Relishing the details.
Yeah. Damn.
I saw no reason to harm anybody other than those 40. And I painted my picture accordingly.
What? You left a trail of blood with like a mark of Dracula or something?
Holy shit.
Oh, impaled them. Yeah. Holding to
Glad.
your, yep. Holding to your namesake. Yep.
But those times are long gone.
All right.
And here they are.
Isaac, we were looking for you.
I was admiring the mirror.
We would ask you to consider moving the castle to Brela to conduct a full-scale destructive attack on the port.
To what end?
To seal it and discourage escape by river to the sea. Then we turn inland, having landlocked the humans and turned their country into a prison.
We will go to Brela ourselves so long as they all die. That's all that matters. They all have to die.
I will stay, Dracula, until this is done.
It doesn't matter. So long as they all die.
What now?
Now I ensure my forces will be in place. Then we inform the War Council and convince them that this was their plan all along. I am in control. Hector.
Cool.
You are.
Yes. He could have done it. You could have done it. Any of the generals could have done it. But I had to. Because I am surrounded by children and animals and dying old men.
And which am I? Child or animal?
Puppy. Somewhere between the two.
I thought you wanted me to believe you respected me.
Oh, this is Trevor!
What?
I have something!
When I say what, that doesn't mean I would like to ask even more questions.
Would you please? Oh, you're the most annoying. Just stop! I think I found a locking spell.
Oh.
Wait, listen. Your family have an entire literature here about the castle. They tried for centuries to eliminate its main advantage. It transports itself through magical means. So some clever Belmont eventually formulated most of a locking spell. A method to catch the castle and lock it down to a single location so that it can be invaded.
All right.
Most of it.
I can finish the final clauses of it myself.
Is that how you understand that story?
Oh yes, the speakers are the enemy of God. We live in cooperation and hide our stories inside ourselves so he cannot strike them down in jealousy.
Castle's here.
See? God hates me.
This fucking show! The
Oh my
dialogue
God.
is so good!
Wow.
That's probably
damn
not
it.
God.
No.
Oh my God.
Right, this
That
show
episode.
is fantastic.
Whew.
We had ourselves probably one of the most dialogue-heavy
Mm-hmm.
episodes thus far because Isaac had many good conversations this episode.
Yep.
Dracula had some good conversations, but especially the little banter between Alucard
And Sypha.
Sypha.
Yeah.
I loved that shit.
The
That
dialogue
was good.
The dialogue in this show pops. And I really mean that.
Because they all speak differently.
Mm-hmm.
They all have their own way of interacting and engaging,
And-
that feels unique. The writing on this makes these characters all feel like they are different characters with different kind of
Yes.
ways of doing this. So that's so good.
And the writing in some ways doesn't take itself too seriously when it's dealing with especially the main cast.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes, it can be like, oh no, this is a serious situation.
Especially for high fantasy.
Serious characters, high fantasy. These characters are badasses,
Yep.
vampire hunters and vampires
Right.
and mages and shit, right? Like,
Low fantasy, whatever you call this. Yeah,
right.
whatever.
So it's like you're not going to have situations where like, oh, they just get into petty squabbles and shit like that. No. No, these characters absolutely will. In this house, we do have banter. We do have talk about the fact that the person who rolled up a half vampire, half human who must go defeat his father is an edgy teenager. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, we'll have things of just bits of petty jealousy because cute girl, and you really shouldn't spend that much time about him. I mean, he's got all these issues with him, and, you know, all these things that I definitely don't have to worry about. You know, I'm so much cooler than him and everything.
Yeah. In some ways, I like that that's not even necessarily, like, Alucard could have been absolutely genuine in being like, no, I think he's a problem. We don't need him.
I just really don't like him.
Like, I literally provide, in terms of stopping Dracula, everything and more that he does.
Right.
So, like, it is a bit of the jealousy of why do we need him, but also I think it's just the literal thing of, no, this guy is an ex-vampire hunter. We literally, like, had to deal with people like him for a while, so of course I hate him. Like,
right.
Yeah. I've got all this past reason to hate him. So that's its own thing there. But on the castle side of things here, Carmilla's plan worked.
It did.
The castle moved to Brela. Dracula is tired. He is not really ready for this betrayal.
Nope.
He might be aware beyond what Isaac has been communicating with him. He's not stupid.
Right.
And he could probably feel that slight bit of animosity and malevolence or malice coming from Carmilla.
Oh, right.
But I loved the way Hector ended up getting caught in the middle of this because he had the conversation with Isaac.
Yep.
Right? And he's like, hey, I'm loyal. Like, I'm legit. He literally does a really good job of orating his concerns, his desires, to the point where Isaac's like, oh no, he's loyal. Like, in a way that convinced Isaac. Yeah. Isaac, the one who was like, wait, like, I smell bullshit.
Isaac, the one who killed Godbrand for saying more or less the same shit.
Kind of.
Granted, with Godbrand, it got to the point where it's like...
Godbrand suggested some things.
Right.
Hector has the gift of, I would call, charismatic dialogue.
Sure.
A lot of what he said was very persuasive. I was convinced. So, like it was very well done, to the fact where Isaac is like, no, you have nothing to fear from Hector. And yet Hector is kind of planning to betray him. Like in some ways, like he's not stupid either. He he's not necessarily wise, but he's not stupid. He could tell what Carmilla wanted.
Right.
And yet he's like, oh, you're not even trying to pretend to respect me. And she's like, no, I don't
you're
care anymore.
At that point,
You've spoken to Dracula about going to Brela and desiring this, so therefore...
Right.
You and Isaac are
now,
both kind of on his shit list potentially pretty soon.
Right. And the funny thing is that this, theoretically, that could still be too early, Carmilla, because, well, you guys haven't actually made the attempt to attack him yet. He hasn't sent out his forces yet. So if he were to go to him, you know, he's not going to.
Throw himself at his feet.
Throw himself at his feet and be like, I fucked up, you know, but by the way, they're doing this thing, then your whole betrayal is dead in the water.
It would actually be really cool to see him be like, okay, Isaac, don't kill him, but teach him what the consequences of disloyalty are.
Isaac just hands him his flagellating tool and is like,
6 hours.
The body must be purified, you know.
6 hours every day for a year, you know.
I bought that shake weight you see on TV. 10 minutes a day, every day.
Yeah. I very much think that's possible. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either.
I think Hector is absolutely on board with this because he does not want the human race to be completely wiped out.
And I actually, the one thing about the dialogue that did kind of give me pause for a second in this episode is how many times they specifically said, yes, we're going to be killing all the humans, all the humans, all the humans. And it's like, wait, that was Hector's like one thing of like, okay, but not like all, like 99% of them, right? And maybe that's just something where it's like he's gotten used to the idea that's used as like a shorthand. They're not gonna.
Well, he was trying to convince Isaac. He's not necessarily wanting to like be completely honest with Isaac,
right? But I guess in something where Carmilla was able to use the fact that Dracula was actually wanting to kill all the humans as a point of leverage against him to get him to turn against Dracula. If she was able to know about that, then theoretically other people could know about that. And like they might be like,
But
oh,
they don't necessarily.
But yeah, I guess they don't.
I think that's the thing that we need to like very much keep in mind here. Not everyone knows everything about everyone in this court here, obviously.
Sure.
But it's very important to know what Dracula knows. And Dracula knows what each of his generals' desires and motivations are.
Right.
He doesn't talk about those with other generals.
Mm-hmm.
He has no reason to. In a lot of ways, he manipulated, like, in some ways, Isaac and Hector into this situation.
Maybe it's something where like...
especially Hector, but yeah.
Right, maybe it's something where Hector has kind of up till now had the thing of the, well, there's the things that we need to say to the vampires for the sake of the United Front, whatever, something like that, So we're not going to get into those details too much, and then it's like, and then Hector doesn't realize that the actual plan is being said, or something like that. I mean,
Dracula's not getting into the details about the fact that he very clearly, more and more, is just like, no, I want all of them to die. He's not talking about just humans. He's talking about all living things.
Quiet world.
A quiet world.
And yet he still says, you two will be the two humans left alive at the end.
Well, I mean, yes, and then eventually they'll die of old age.
Sure.
They can't
they don't continue.
Procreate.
Right, they don't continue the human race, of course. So then it's just, you live your lives out, and then it's dead. And in Dracula's case, he wouldn't really care because he still gets his, whether it's 70 years later or whatever, and he likes their company, enough. So
he can also probably go dormant for a while as well.
Right, just sleep till they die out, and then hey, he's got his quiet world.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
But all right, if this plan goes into effect, once all of the other forces, basically of like Dracula's, for instance, leave.
Yep.
Carmilla could set this up to potentially not have any risk involved for herself by having the generals of the other their forces
make them think it's their idea. They are the ones that go and do it.
Right. Then she fucks off back to her castle or what have you.
Sure.
But the castle can still move. So what she might be doing is basically like trying to weaken them theoretically, where the other generals are all potential rivals. And she's like, I don't want to have them all decide, wait, whoa, fuck you, Carmilla. You don't rule over us. We'll create a council court, and they all unite, and then just wipe her out. I think she needs to use them in such a way where I think a lot
after the victory, she will be able to lead them.
Yeah, and they won't have any power to question her. I really feel like this is a situation where Carmilla is going to get out of this okay. But a lot of the vampires are gonna die.
Well, and I mean, Godbrand was the only real vampire that we had as a named character other than Carmilla and Dracula.
Right, which is why when Godbrand went to do his raid, we saw the abilities of the other generals, but we didn't.
But we don't know them as people,
right? Because they're gonna die at some point, and we don't
probably
care
very
about
soon.
them.
Yeah, we don't care about them, right?
Yeah.
How Carmilla will get out of this, I'm not sure.
That's what I was saying. She fucks off to her castle. She leaves.
Right.
She doesn't need to be here. Well, Dracula's going to put up a fight.
Right, but I think she does believe, though, that the plan will work.
That's the thing. I don't think she's dumb enough to run the risk that it won't work.
Gotcha.
By putting herself as the front of this whole thing. She's like, no.
Right, yeah. Right, because even if it does work, she wouldn't want to be one of the people on the front lines that Dracula would instantly just be like...
What happens if Dracula... You're wrong, and he is a little bit more powerful than you'd think.
Whatever the casualty list is, that will probably be pretty big from fighting Dracula.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on that.
Right, right. So just use everybody else. They're all pawns.
Right. If they think it's their idea, they'll probably be the ones leading the charge.
Yeah. So it's perfect. I think she comes out on top in this, but Dracula doesn't necessarily die. I think Dracula's power base gets weakened. A lot of vampires die. This sets up a situation where the heroes can then actually take advantage of it. And the confusion and the lack of maybe a strong garrison a whole bunch of other factors. Dracula not necessarily being at full strength because maybe he's wounded or he's taken some kind of magical blow that's like keeping him from like regenerating or something.
And we do have the Chekhov's cloak that got thrown through the mirror. So
Right.
I could definitely see it also being something where maybe Dracula himself leaves.
And he actually has to abandon the castle.
He abandons the castle.
Sure.
So far, he seems to be the only person that knows how to move the castle, and on top of that, the protagonists have the ability to, or will soon have the ability to lock it down.
Yeah.
We could get a situation where it's the Dracula is not in this castle, and they could fight their way through to the top or whatever.
Right.
The vampires are licking their wounds or something.
Or they start attacking each other, thinking that this was treachery by Carmilla to make them all fight over nothing. They then have a just gigantic civil war.
Oh, gotcha.
They all just start killing each other. The heroes come in and they're like,
hold on.
what the fuck is going on here? And then they're like hiding and sneaking around and they're like, okay, shit.
Maximum chaos.
Yeah. And that could be possible because they lock down the castle at the point where...
Yeah, wouldn't that be just horrible for like all the other vampires where it's like, okay, all right, we have the castle, Dracula's gone, you know, he ended up escaping. Ugh, that sucks, but okay, we have the castle. If he ever comes after us, we can just we can just teleport. All right, we have to figure out how to teleport. Okay. They figure out how to teleport after a long time. It's not working. Wait, what? Why not? Hey, we locked down the castle. We're here to kill Dracula.
It literally should work. And then they think, well, I think it would be cool to have the protagonist's efforts not necessarily be like entirely aware to the vampires, so that they're like, Carmilla did this. Like this is, and then they all like turn on each other. Like I just want the vampires to turn on each other, not just turning on Dracula, but like literally on each other, where it's the thing of like.
I mean, even if they do kill Dracula, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now who leads? You know?
Well, that's the thing, that Carmilla will lead.
Right, but if they think that it was their idea, they're not necessarily going to want to bend the knee to Carmilla. So
yeah, she could have a plan for that, of a political system and structure where it's the no. I totally understand that you guys want positions of power. I will give you all each your quarter or sixth of the earth.
Right, when they divide it up, then they're in a system that Carmilla can manipulate and rise to the top of in a regular fashion because Dracula is no longer the unstoppable, immovable thing at the top.
Right. The god vampire, you know, as we called him. But all right,
okay,
that's the situation. Mm-hmm. This is all gonna go to shit really quickly, though.
Yep.
Because if they attack Brayla here, this is going to stir up the protagonists to then have to defend the area, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're also going to see the castle and be like, whoa, this is an opportunity.
Right.
But we're too early in the show.
We're too low level. We don't have enough gear.
Right.
Mage needs at least 7th level
What
spells,
happens when the BBEG just is like, fuck it, I'll just do this myself. And they just roll up with their whole army and everything. And you're like, DM, what? You were sitting in the library for too fucking long, so I'm just bringing the thing to you because, well, I like that you're interested in my lore, but this is like
there are limits.
5 sessions you've been sitting in the library.
I can't let you just sit at the library till you figure everything out. Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to keep making up more bullshit languages to stop your 20 intellect wizard.
I would straight up love it though.
Your scribes wizard that's sitting there like time. This is perfect. Yeah. Scrolls, everything. I'm just gaining power.
Right. But that would be just wonderful if the castle shows up. They're like, oh fuck. Oh, there's a lot of like vampires or zombies or whatever coming out of there. Fuck. Let's go back inside and close the door. And then they just go in and they're like, we can't fight them
use the locking spell on the door.
Right.
That we left open.
Like, because I do want them to be able to come back to this place at some point. Like, that would be cool.
You see, God hates me.
Yeah, God hates me. God, the lines this episode and the ways in which I could just see them being used as like reaction gifs and things like that.
Right.
It was glorious. Yeah. Like yes, the stuff with the vampires and everything was wonderful, but like my favorite bits were the dialogue between the protagonists as they were just dicking about and awesome stuff.
We also got some world building and lore, not only some more languages there, but also the idea of a biblical kind of origin for the world. But then also Alucard hinting at the idea that because of maybe his education from Dracula, he's like, oh, that's how you interpret that story.
Right.
Meaning like, Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
Right.
But there's maybe some things that you're overlooking, or maybe you're interpreting slightly differently.
See, when you talk about lore, you talk about that stuff. Whereas here, my takeaway is they have spells and books with spells about penises. Like what kind of, and not like singular or whatever, but like plural, as in there could be like many. And I'm like, okay, is like you're feeding the fan fiction quite a bit right now. Like what?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. If Alucard has a penis, that's a weak spot. That's a weak spot.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Did I say Alucard? I meant to say Dracula.
I mean, both.
If Dracula has a penis because Alucard
you think
exists,
Trevor wouldn't use Alucard's dick as like a weakness?
Yeah.
Also,
I'm a holy smite that shit.
Also, I just gotta say, I think I said this at like the end of season 1 when Alucard is introduced, but like this show is the epitome of the why don't we all just fuck each other? Just one big fuck pile, And this anime was solved forever. Like you've got a whips. You've got like sucking powers. You've got magic specifically that affects dicks. Like the things that could happen in this show or in the fan fictions for this show
are limitless.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. In that moment, I swear, we were infinite.
Right. One of them's even officially an angsty teen, like
in the body of a, perfect immortal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right.
He's probably a virgin.
Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if anything that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.